Obdachlosen auch immer so eine Papiertüte über den Alkohol stülpen, weil du darfst halt Alkohol nicht in der Öffentlichkeit trinken, wie bei uns, wo die Leute mit den offenen Bierflaschen rumrennen. Weil, ich meine, wenn man ein Problem nicht sieht, ist es ja nicht da. Wir verschweigen auf die Weise das Problem einfach. Typisch American. Die Augen vor der Wahrheit verschließen. Und 13. August 2009, Fahren unter Drogeneinfluss.
Looks like John and Nurse Lou didn't want us to know about their little relationship. Do you want to tell Brass or should I?
Was ein böser Junge. Tja, das wollten Mami und Papi vielleicht nicht damals, dass er sich so benimmt. So, zack, zack, zack. Ich glaube, das waren... Ne, das waren nicht die Beweise. Dann das. Das. Ja, das waren alle Beweise. Ich darf mit Brass darüber reden. Wir brauchen einen Gerichtsbeschluss für Schwester Pauline Liu.
What do you got in the way of evidence?
Wie wär's mit dem Höschen?
Pauline Liu and John Barrett were lovers. Great. So I'd call that motive, wouldn't you? So let me get this straight. John Barrett stands to inherit a fortune. His girlfriend, the nurse, provides him with an alibi, and lucky for her, vice versa. And on top of that, her intimate knowledge of the regulator unit gives the kid a great big opportunity for murder.
Looks like John Barrett doesn't seem too interested in providing an alibi for anyone, including Pauline Liu.
Okay, let's not tip our hand here. If we try and talk to John Barrett first, his lawyers might circle him and the nurse. But if we call the nurse in here first, then maybe she'll be willing to make a deal and give up her boyfriend.
Na dann.
I'm very confused by this situation. I've tried to be very cooperative. Have I done something wrong?
Erzählen Sie uns nochmal von dem falschen Nagel.
Well, like I told you before, I chipped a nail and replaced it with this one I have on. And I've had it on all week. Why are you asking?
Bam! In your face again.
Pauline, we found your DNA on a cosmetic fingernail.
Oh, that's right. You know what? When I first broke my nail, I put on a different replacement. But I didn't apply it right, so then I put this one on. In fact, I didn't even put this one on. The woman who does my nails did. But I don't see why any of this matters, because that was all like a week ago.
Haben Sie eine romantische Beziehung zu John Barrett?
Why are you asking me that? I'm a registered nurse, and Mr. Barrett hired me to provide hospice quality care to his sister.
Oh. Oh, honey, in your face.
Pauline, I'm gonna ask you again. What is your relationship to John Barrett? I think you know why I'm asking. Because according to the semen and vaginal contributions we found on this underwear, you and Mr. Barrett were very intimate. At least on one occasion.
It's true. I love John. We've been together for some time now. I met John not long after his parents passed away. I probably fell in love first. I think he was more interested in being distracted. You see, before I was a nurse, I was a dancer. A stripper, actually. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's not exactly something I'm ashamed of either. It paid my way through nursing school. I'd always dreamed of being a nurse. And it brought me to John. But I never quite had enough confidence, or I don't know. Maybe I just didn't have enough experience to pass my certification tests. John was the only one who ever believed in me. He's the most sensitive, caring man I've ever known.
Pauline, you've been telling us this whole time that you're a registered nurse.
Yeah, well, for all practical purposes, I am. It's just that I don't actually have this certification yet, and I didn't want to get John into trouble for having hired me. Look, I swear to God, that's the only reason I tried to hide our relationship from you. Look, all my life, all I've ever wanted to do is be a nurse and help people. I couldn't bear the thought of being barred from the profession for good because of this.
As Mary's nurse, you definitely had what we like to refer to as opportunity. You following me? Okay, now since you and John had a little thing going on, and he stood to inherit the family fortune if and when Mary died, well, that gives both of you motive. What really complicates things is that you've told us two different stories.
I'll tell you what, Miss Lou. We're all reasonable people. We know you and John are in this thing together. That's why we're prepared to offer you a deal. Testify against Mr. Barrett, and we'll make sure that you do the bare minimum of jail time. What do you say?
No, please, I'm innocent. You've got to talk to John. He'll tell you. We were together all night. I swear to you.
You lied to us, Pauline. Now it's kind of hard just to take you at your word. And since John's not talking, we're really gonna need your help to find something to back up your story.
If John knows what's going to happen to me, he'll talk to you. I know he will. He's a very complicated man. Before her accident, Mary gave John a gift. It's a goofy little thing. This little finger puppet. It was like this private joke between the two of them. But then when Mary got hurt, that stupid puppet began to mean the world to John. He would hold it at her bedside and try to make her laugh with it. But last week, the puppet got lost somehow. I'd been cleaning up and I must have misplaced it, but John went ballistic. I mean, you'd have thought I'd run over his dog. Anyway, day before yesterday, I found the damn puppet. I was thrilled. I went down to the lake, down by where they keep the boat, and I was gonna surprise John with it, but before I could say anything, he started screaming at me. And that's when I threw that stupid puppet away, for good. Well, not exactly for good. I tried throwing the damn thing in the lake, but instead I ended up tossing it into the family's boat. Okay, this is the crazy part, and the whole reason I'm telling you this. I think if John gets that puppet back, then he might be able to open up to you guys. He's missing Mary so much. He just needs to have a piece of her back, and then he'll open up and tell you everything you need to know. I'm sure of it.
Was für eine... Das ist erst einmal alles.
That's all for now. Thank you.
Was für eine bekloppte... Also irgendwie finde ich schon durchaus bekloppte Idee als Konzept, um quasi diesen Typen zum Reden zu kriegen. Lag das vorher auch schon da? Komisch.
Okay, here's that little puppet Pauline was talking about. It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's just really hard to believe this would mean so much to Mary's brother.
Naja, was sollen wir dazu sagen? Let's try it. Wo ist der Kerl jetzt schon wieder hin? Super. Okay. Wir sollten jetzt den Typen erstmal finden. Nee, mit Jane nicht. Dann gehen wir mal in die Hütte.
Looks like John's come out of hiding.
Ja, hier ist er also.
Oh God. Where did you get this?
We understand it has a lot of sentimental value for you.
It does. It may seem silly to you, but it means a lot to me. Thanks. This finger puppet. This dumb, ugly little finger puppet is proof I killed my sister. She gave it to me just before the accident. And then afterwards, you know, I'd put it on her finger. She'd make me laugh. It disappeared a week ago, right after I made Mary promise me she'd keep living. For me. Because I could tell, in her eyes, she wanted to give up. She was tired. I couldn't let her go. When I thought I'd lost this puppet, it suddenly occurred to me that instead of convincing Mary to stay with me, I'd actually pushed her into leaving. I killed her. Someone else may have helped her, you know, carry it out, but it's really my fault.
John, I don't understand something, and I don't mean to be insensitive, but how would you know what Mary was thinking? She couldn't speak. She could hardly move. How were you communicating with her?
We both knew Morse code. We tap into each other's palms. It's almost like how Helen Keller used to communicate.
Mary knew Morse code.
Yeah. You know, for laughs, she'd tap out the things that bothered her on the regulator button, because she knew it would cut off after a certain point. She complained about blisters and cramps. Jane.
Jane?
Yeah. Mary told me every Sunday at some point she'd get so bored when Jane came over that she'd spell her name out with the regulator button. It's like the finger puppet. Stupid, but funny. I really miss her.
We need to get back to the lab and review those regulator records. I think we may have overlooked our best witness.
Das ist eine richtig geile Sache. Idee.
Look, officers, this is a really terrible time for me right now. I'm sorry for lashing out at you. I realize you're just doing your job. I lied to you about one thing. If someone did this to Mary, I want to know who. I'll help you. In any way I can. Ask me whatever questions you need.
Okay, können Sie uns mehr über Mary Mars erzählen?
I could talk about Mary all day if you wanted me to.
Wusste Mary über Schwester Leo Bescheid?
That Pauline wasn't actually a registered nurse? Yeah, Mary knew. She didn't have a problem with it. She liked Pauline a lot. She also knew how I felt about her. I think Mary probably thought I could do better than an ex-stripper, but she was happy that I was happy.
Ups, wusste Mary, dass sie und Schwester Leo ein Verhältnis hatten?
Everyone knew we were a couple, including Jane.
Was ist mit Schwester Leo?
I love Pauline, and I know she would never do anything to hurt Mary. And even if Mary had wanted Pauline to help end her life, I mean, even if Pauline had found some way to communicate with Mary about that, she would have come to me first. Whatever you think you have on Pauline, I'm telling you, you're wrong.
Glauben Sie, dass Schwester Leo Mary geholfen haben könnte, zu sterben?
Pauline doesn't know Morse code. How could Mary have asked her? I know you probably think I'm blinded by love or something, but Pauline couldn't have been the one who ended Mary's life.
Wo waren Sie gestern Nacht?
Pauline and I were home all night. We got back around 10, and then we basically crashed in our room till morning. It's not really much of an alibi, right? Nobody saw us, nobody called us, but it's the truth.
Haben Sie Mary getötet?
I understand you have to ask me that question, but it still hurts. And the answer is still, no, I did not kill Mary.
You see, John, the problem is, absent you having an alibi we can confirm, the evidence we have right now suggests that you had both opportunity and motive in your sister's death.
What evidence?
Well, for one thing, we found a shoe impression beside your sister's bed. It was left in fresh mud. We were able to match that impression to the shoes we found in your bedroom, the ones which still had caked mud on them.
Wait a minute. Think about it. If I was really gonna kill Mary, why the hell would I track mud all over the house and leave my shoe print where you guys can find it and match it right back to me?
You ever hear the expression consciousness of guilt? It means deep down, you might have subconsciously felt guilty for doing what you did.
I didn't do what you think I did. The thing is, I have another pair of shoes just like those. I keep them on the boat. Somebody else could have used them. Somebody who wanted to make it look like I did it. Now, the weird thing is, I keep those shoes in a locked cabinet. But here's the key. Go check it out.
Könnte Jane Mary getötet haben?
Jane? My sister and I don't exactly get along anymore, but between the two of us, I'm the one capable of murder, not her. Jane and I aren't very close. When we were growing up, she was cruel and distant, and she was really judgmental, and she was always the victim. But I did appreciate how she tried to be with Mary after the accident. I can't see Jane doing anything to harm Mary. At worst, she would have just stopped showing up.
Standen sich Mary und Jane nahe?
Jane didn't like Mary. She didn't trust her. But then after the accident, Jane tried really hard to make things right between them.
Danke für Ihre Hilfe. Wieso habe ich das Gefühl, dass Jane die Mörderin ist, Mary töten wollte, es ihm anhängen wollte, weil er kriegt die Kohle und wenn er im Knast ist, kriegt Jane wahrscheinlich die Kohle. Oder? So, Moment. Ich glaube... Hatten wir nicht die Geschichte mit dem Schlüssel schon mal? So, erst einmal jetzt in den Bereich. Zack. Boot. Boot. Haha. Was haben wir denn da?
Same size and brand of shoe, with mud on them. Right where John told us they'd be. Okay, now the trick is to distinguish one pair of muddy shoes from the other.
Ich glaube, das kriegen wir hin. Oh, nein, nicht Fallakte. Wir haben diesmal gar nicht in die Fallakte reingeschaut, ne? Na, egal. Passiert. Ich glaube... Nee, halt. Makro. Ich glaube, dass die Schuhe sich minimal unterscheiden werden.
The shoe impressions we collected at the crime scene match the treads of the shoes we recovered from the boat. These are the shoes the killer wore.
Haha, sieh mal einen an. Was?